Here we have a quite old fountain from communist times. I'm in the middle of Stranja by rental car. There's really nobody here. This is a very old one, maybe 60 years from communist times. It's at Trudova Drużynia, which is like a workers or workers friendship, a workers bond. Old, still working water, straight from the ground, very drinkable. Well, not from the pond obviously, but straight from the fountain itself. Just fantastic. There's probably some walnut trees here, I'm not quite sure, because they have fruits. But I don't know if it's walnut or not, really no idea. But somebody told me that these fountains were typically built near or under walnut trees, because then travelers could, for example, let their horses drink here, even though this is after horse time obviously. They had cars already, but they could let their horses drink here from the pond, and meanwhile themselves eat some walnuts and rest and drink fresh water. So that's interesting. You can see the water flows into here and then extends into the other pond for the horses. At least that's how it used to work. Now it's just getting a bit filled with algae and well, I guess a lot of mosquitoes. I'm going to fill my bottles and continue on the way into Stranja, the last remote corner of Bulgaria I still had to explore. I made a huge mistake. I took just one of the most horrible roads I have ever seen through the Stranja region, basically because I didn't properly research the road I was going to take. Typically I would have had to do a detour all the way to Burgas and then go south into Stranja, but I decided to just come straight from the west and cross straight through the heart of the region of Stranja, which, as you can see, is desolated. This road is crumbling apart. My car is taking some big hits. Hope I don't have any scratches on the sides, but the thing is that I don't have any mobile coverage, so I just need to get out of here before blowing a tire, because I don't have a spare. I do have enough water and smart enough to take that, but you know, this is what depopulation and carelessness by the government looks like. And people live in this area. This is a road that people use. I haven't come across cars in a while, but in these villages that I just passed, there are people living there, elderly. They are there, completely self-sufficient. And I'm not going too far into these villages now, maybe a bit later, but I want to get to the main road first. But can you imagine you live here as a pensioner and something happens to you, anything. Maybe you call your son who lives abroad and he can't come. You call an ambulance, probably has to come from Burgas. Will take him 2 hours to come here. If he even comes. I mean, what are you gonna do? Do you even have a phone in this village? I wouldn't be too sure. Running water? Not so sure. Probably not. But people live here and it all looks nice and exotic in summer. But come back in winter. You cannot get out. You cannot get in. There's no way. I mean, look at this. It's Bulgaria for you. The remotest part. Granted, not the whole country is like this, and I took a very bad road. I should have known better, because it happens to me a ton of times. But the thing is that people live in areas like this still. met them, I've talked to them, and they say it's misery. And I can imagine, it may look peaceful, quiet, the self-sufficient life has some things going for it, but bless you if you ever need any help, because there's none. There is none. Probably no stores. I mean, just have to figure it out for yourself. And it just resembles parts of Africa. I can not find any comparison. I haven't been into the poor parts of Africa, but I know people live like that too. But at least there, they have their children, because they probably don't leave. Maybe they have 5 or 6 children. Here, children are not here. Probably hasn't cried a baby in this area for years, at least in these parts. And you can imagine you're left alone here as a pensioner. It's not pretty. But the thing is, when you see them, they still smile. They still give you a cup of tea. They still welcome you to their homes and send you on their way. Wish you a safe trip, which you do need here in these parts. So I hope to get to the main road in 10 minutes, I guess. Average speed is about 5 kilometers an hour, with frequent stops to zoom around the big holes, potholes. Oh, I think, no, that's not the main road. Maybe 10 minutes. I mean, I've seen a worse part of this road. Now it's fine. It was just gravel a while back. This is, look, for me this is the standard thing you see when you get in desolate parts of Bulgaria. So I've seen a lot of this, but I haven't seen it this widespread. Yes, you have some roads like this, but this crosses the whole area of Stranja, which I would say is maybe 50 kilometers in length from west to east. I've done at least 20 or 30 on this road, and I haven't seen it this desolate, I would say. And I've seen a lot. I've seen every area of Bulgaria. But like this, it's a bit frightening to say the least. Concerning that this is still happening in the European Union. But what can you do? Keep voting, I guess. It is a beautiful area, however. Now it's all gravel again. Good God. Oh, shouldn't have done this. Shouldn't have done this. You know, the thing is, after a certain point, you don't want to return, and at one point, the road gets worse. You can get yourself into trouble, especially when you're alone and out of mobile coverage. So I'm just hoping that I'm going to be fine with this car. And certainly when you come to Bulgaria and want to be a bit adventurous, just stick to the main roads. It's adventurous enough. I keep making these mistakes for 5 years already because I'm just a freak, I guess, a freak of nature, going to the remotest parts. But stick to the main roads and you'll be fine. I mean, I must say the main roads are pretty good, have high standards nowadays, high enough on European level. Some things left to desire, but don't do this, really, don't do it. Unless you're on a motorbike, have an off-road car, yeah, it's fantastic. But like this, with a small car, I wouldn't. So that's all I had to share with you today, and see you in the next video when I get back to the main road. Bye bye. When I just opened the car, took some enormous flies, the biggest ones I've ever seen back in. This region is quite well known for its huge flying insects. But the good news is that I seem to be near the main road, because I see a sign, left to Burgas, right to Malko Turnovo, which is where I'm going eventually. Some bad news is that the hotel that I booked near the seaside, I booked it through booking.com, even paid by credit card. About 40 euros they called and said, hey, we're closed. yes, but you took my payment. Then they denied that. But I sent them some proof. Hopefully we'll get it back. Either way, we'll have to find another hotel. This is just adventure in Bulgaria. Oh, I'm here. And now you can see, to make a full stop for the sign, you can see that the main road is actually pretty good, and this is what I should have taken from the start. So that was quite an adventure. First destination I'm going to see now is Brasilian. Small town, also quite historical, there's lots to see. Unfortunately, I did notice some scratches on the sides of the car. Hopefully I can wash them off if it's not too deep, and otherwise we'll have to pay for the damage done. It's an unfortunate fact. I've had it before. Obviously I absolutely regret it. I hate damaging someone else's property. Obviously didn't do it on purpose, but I should have researched the road better. One interesting place to be here. It's quite near Turkey. Actually, if I just continue, I probably will drive into Turkey, not quite sure. Malkutunovo has a checkpoint, I believe, and that's 30 kilometers. And then the forest just continues. This fly is looking with me, he's on the back windshield. Hopefully we'll get it out later. So I'm on the way to Brasilian, and we'll keep you posted for new adventures. Bye bye.